and welcome to a new book haul. I've got some fantastic books to share with you that I've picked up recently, from fiction to non-fiction, cookbooks. There are lots of really wonderful books I can't wait to share with you, so let's dive in. First of all, I was so thrilled to receive this beautiful book from Slightly Foxed. I've got an early press copy. It's coming out a bit later this month, and it's A Countryman's Autumn Notebook by Adrian Bell. I absolutely love this quartet that Slightly Foxed have published. This is the last one, and it's a seasonal quartet of Adrian Bell's countryside writing. So they've already done winter, spring, and summer, and this completes the quartet with autumn, which I'm really excited about. Autumn is my favourite season, so I've been so looking forward to this volume. And in these books, Slightly Foxed have collected Adrian Bell's newspaper articles that he wrote from about 1950 through to the 1980s. And he's such an amazing non-fiction writer and observer of the countryside. His prose is just beautiful. I really love it. This is the type of book that I have on my bedside table, and it's just a really soothing, calming read to dip into. If you've missed any of the other sort of seasonal ones by Slightly Foxed of Adrian Bell's writing, then they are also bringing out a little slipcase with all 4 volumes in it. I think that's coming out a bit later this month as well, which is also really exciting. But yes, I absolutely can't wait to dive into this autumn notebook. I know it's going to really put me in an autumnal mood, and it'll be a lovely companion throughout this season. So I'm thrilled with this. And then also Slightly Foxed have sent me one of their new memoirs that they've republished. I'm really excited about this one. It's The Other Day by Dorothy Whipple. This is a memoir of her childhood. I'm a huge fan of Dorothy Whipple's writing. A lot of you I know will be too. Persephone Books have republished all of her books. I love her novels, but I'm also really looking forward to reading this memoir of her childhood. And I love this Slightly Foxed edition with the beautiful blue cloth-bound cover, and then the sort of lovely burgundy on the inside with the end papers and also the ribbon. I think that's such a lovely colour combination. So I'm thrilled with this. And then of course I got the latest Slightly Foxed magazine as well. Slightly Foxed is a wonderful publishing company. They republish mainly non-fiction and memoir, but they also produce a quarterly magazine, which is full of wonderful articles all about books and generally about lesser known books. And I always find a lot of inspiration whenever I read the latest Slightly Foxed magazine, so I can't wait to dive into this one too. I absolutely love the cover on this as well. It's so beautiful. So that's always really exciting when the Slightly Foxed little parcel arrives. And then I was also really thrilled to get this very kindly given to me by Batsford. This is one of their latest poetry anthologies. This is a nature poem for every autumn evening. I love how they're dividing up some of their much bigger nature poetry anthologies into these little seasonal editions. Again, this is the type of book that I absolutely will have on my bedside table through the autumn. It's edited by Jane McMorland Hunter. Those of you who are part of my Seasons of Story community on Substack will recognise Jane's name, as she contributes some recipes to my Substack, and she's really lovely. She joins us on our Creative Power Hour often too, and is always so creative with her quilting and everything. But I love the anthologies that she writes for Batsford, so I was really thrilled to get this one, and I can't wait to dive into all of the beautiful poems soon as well. I think this will make such lovely bedside reading for this season. And then another book that Batsford very kindly sent me is Calm Your Mind, A Journey to Tranquility, that's been done by Ravenous Butterflies. And this is a collection of quotes and artwork to calm your mind, which is just the kind of thing that I love myself. So I'm really looking forward to looking through this beautiful book as well. And again, it will be such a lovely bedside table companion. So this will be such a beautiful book to browse. And then I love Janelle McCulloch's books, so I was absolutely thrilled to be very kindly sent her new biography, Where the Old Roses Grow, Vita Sackville West and the Battle for Beauty During Wartime. It sounds absolutely fascinating. I was disappointed that we didn't get to Sissinghurst, Vita Sackville West's home in the summer, but we visited before, and of course we did get to her childhood home, Knoll. So I'm really, really keen to read this. And it says, during the Second World War and in the decades after it, a group of rose lovers, including the writer and gardener Vita Sackville West, the florist Constance Spry, and the horticulturalist Graham Stewart Thomas, realised that heritage roses were becoming endangered. Fearing for their future, these rosarians began collecting rare old roses to save them from dying out while England's gardeners were away fighting on the front. Where the Old Roses Grow tells the extraordinary story of how they did this while the German bombers were scorching the skies, Hitler was advancing on their lives, and hope was being extinguished month by month. It just sounds like such a fascinating read, so I really can't wait to dig into this one. So before I share the next book with you, I wanted to tell you about my offer code for serious readers. I'm thrilled to say that serious readers are very kindly sponsoring today's video. As I've said many times, I'm a huge fan of their reading lights. I use my high definition floor light all the time, so I'm so pleased to have an offer code to share with you. My offer code is Miranda, all capital letters, Miranda 24. And if you use that offer code, you get £100 off any of the high definition lights by serious readers, as well as free UK delivery. I've started to notice that the evenings are already getting longer as we begin to really move into autumn now. And this means that having a really good reading light is even more an important part of my reading routine. I absolutely love to read, as you know, but reading is also part of my job, so I do dedicate a lot of time to it. And I mainly read in the evenings. I don't watch TV generally in the evenings, but I read a lot, normally about 2 hours every night. So I use my reading light all the time, and having a really good quality reading light is very important to me. There are many reasons why I love my serious light, and one of the main reasons is that it has exceptional light quality. All of the high definition lights by serious readers feature daylight wavelength technology, which essentially replicates the daylight spectrum as closely as technically possible. So when I'm using my serious light, I feel like I'm reading in a pool of natural light, or at least as close to natural light as you can get. And this really helps me to prevent eye strain. I also like that I can adjust the light levels of my serious light as well as the width of the beam of the light, so I can really get just the right amount of light that I want, whatever my situation. I also went for the cordless light option, which really is great for me because I live in an old house and there aren't very many plugs that I can use where I could plug in a light. So having the cordless option is great for me because this means that I can just pick up this light and carry it around and place it wherever I'm reading and in whichever room I want to read in. So that's a really handy feature for me as well. But if you're also keen to have a great reading light, then do take advantage of my offer code. Again, that's Miranda, all capital letters, Miranda24. And if you use that offer code, that will get you £100 off any of the high definition lights by serious readers, as well as free shipping within the UK. I'll put all of the details, including my offer code and relevant links, in the description box down below, so you can check out all the information there. But now let's get back to my book haul. Okay, so the next book that I've got has a lovely summer memory for me. That's Swoop, Sing, Perch, Paddle. And this is such a lovely collection of beautiful illustrations by Carrie Ackroyd, and you might remember that we went to see her exhibition that showcased the artwork that's found in this book, We went earlier in the summer, and it was so wonderful to see the beautiful art in person. And it's so nice to have it in book form as well. And there's such a lot of information about all different types of birds in this too, which is so interesting. Apparently, this book brings together columns that were written for the oldies Bird of the Month column, and each of the little articles was accompanied by one of Carrie Ackroyd's beautiful illustrations. So this book kind of collects all of those columns, and it just makes such interesting reading. I'm learning a lot more about birds, and it's just so beautifully illustrated that I absolutely love it. And it was very special seeing the Carrie Ackroyd exhibition in person. So that's a lovely memory for me from the summer of 2024. And then I was absolutely thrilled to be sent this new book by Angela Harding. I think this is actually coming out on September 26th. But I've got an early copy, and it's so gorgeous. This just arrived this morning, so I haven't had a lot of time to look at it yet, but I've been flicking through, and it's absolutely stunning. I wanted to show you a print of hers in here that's of Whitby. There's a little bit about Yorkshire in here, and I love this one of Whitby. You can just see Whitby Abbey in the background there. But such a stunning book. I love Angela Harding's artworks. I've loved her previous 2 books that she's done. And so I'm over the moon to have her beautiful new one that showcases lots of gorgeous artwork and some photography as well of her travels. It says that this book features over 50 original illustrations of dramatic seascapes and reflective rivers, alongside photography of the stunning places that inspired the artwork. And it says Angela Harding's beautiful new book captures the waters that move us. In this gorgeous book, Angela takes readers with her on her travels across rivers and seas, featuring beautiful paintings and prints, pages from Angela's personal sketchbooks, and stunning photos. It is a joyful celebration of water and wildlife across Britain, perfect for art admirers and nature lovers everywhere. It's really, really stunning. So I was absolutely thrilled to get this. I think Angela Harding's doing a few events around Yorkshire, actually, a bit later in the autumn. So I might try and go to one if I'm around. That would be really lovely. But I'm so thrilled to have her new book too. Can't wait to read this and really take in that gorgeous artwork. And then I got this book, The Chamomile by Catherine Carswell. And this is the latest book published in the British Library Women Writers series, and I've actually finished this one already. I read it pretty quickly, and I did enjoy it. It wasn't a huge favourite of mine, I have to say, but I still enjoyed it and found it an interesting read. It's set in Glasgow, and I found that very interesting. I really enjoyed the setting of the book, set in Glasgow in the sort of early 20th century, and it's about a young woman who's really struggling with the big life decisions, what she wants to do with her life. She's drawn to a creative career, especially a career as a writer, but she's also frightened to try to become a writer herself, partly because that's such a difficult thing for women to have done in those days in particular, but also because her mother was a writer and not a successful one, and was actually a very bad example of a woman wanting to write in the young heroine Ellen's life. So although she's really drawn to writing, she's also frightened of that future. So she dabbles with the idea of marriage, and at one point it looks like she has a sort of idea of her life that will work out. But then this book takes you on a few twists and turns regarding the plot. So like I said, in general, I did enjoy it. At some points, it got a bit too wordy for me with all of sort of Ellen's internal kind of thoughts. This book is really written as a kind of journal letter to her best friend. And I think that in general that worked quite well, but sometimes, like I said, it got a bit too much. However, I did enjoy it overall, and I found it really interesting, this idea of a woman really trying to work out how to actually have a creative career. And in the book, she has a realization that her desire to be a writer is like the chamomile. The more that it's trodden down, the more that it grows. And there's a wonderful bit in the book where she gets a room of her own. She rents this sort of pokey little room that is very far from ideal, but just to be able to have a room of her own, in the words of Virginia Woolf, outside of the family home, where her aunt is really disapproving of her wanting to write. And there are some really funny bits in this book too, I have to say. There are some really laugh out loud bits. So slightly mixed feelings with this one, but overall I did enjoy it. And then another book that I can't wait to read actually is Appointment with Yesterday by Celia Fremlin. I've read 3 other books of hers that Faber have recently re-released, and this is one that only came out fairly recently, so I'm looking forward to getting to it. It's one that's set by the seaside, but I think it's set more in the winter time, so I didn't read it over the summer, but I'm looking forward to getting to it. And it says, Millie Barnes has just arrived in the coastal town of Seacliff. Between windswept walks on the beach, she settles into her lodgings and finds work as a daily help. Except this isn't her real name. Millie is on the run from her past life, escaping a nightmare marriage. Just sounds so good already. I really can't wait to read this one. Celia Fremlin's books are always such good page turners, so this is one I'm really looking forward to curling up with in the autumn evenings. And then another book that has just come out, it's actually just out today, the 5th of September, and that's Small Bomb at Dimpley by Lissa Evans. I've read this one already, I've told you about it already, absolutely loved it. I have an interview with Lissa Evans that is already up on Seasons of Story, but it will be up publicly on my blog in a few days, so definitely do listen to that when you get the chance. And yes, I absolutely loved this book. It's set just after World War II. It's full of so much humour. It's such a heartwarming read as well. It's about a young man who realises because of the death of his older brother, he's now inherited the sort of family title and the family estate, but there's no money left. And so what he does next sort of makes up a lot of this story, and there's a lovely romance. There's just so much to enjoy in this one, and I love Lissa Evans' writing, but this is my favourite actually of her books so far. So yes, I was thrilled to get this beautiful edition. I read the proof copy before, but I love this beautiful proper edition of the book, so I was really thrilled to get that. And then this is one really for my mum, because she's read the Jackson Brodie Mysteries by Kate Atkinson. I really like Kate Atkinson's writing, but I haven't read these mysteries by her. But I'm quite tempted actually to pick one up, because this one looks really good. This is Death at the Sign of the Rook, the latest Jackson Brodie one. So I know my mum's really going to enjoy this one, and it does look like it'll be a really good read. And autumn's the perfect season for curling up with a new mystery. So I know she's looking forward to it, but I'm quite tempted to give it a go myself as well. And then another book that I just very recently got is this Notes from the Hen House, and it's a collection of essays by Elspeth Barker, and there's a foreword to the book by her daughter, who's also a writer, Rafaela Barker. Elspeth Barker wrote the modern classic, O Caledonia, but these essays are absolutely brilliant. My mum's been reading them, and she keeps reading bits out loud to me in the evenings, because there's some really funny moments. There's one essay about Elspeth Barker learning how to drive, and it's really, really funny. So Mum was reading bits aloud to me just the other evening, and she's really enjoying this, and I can't wait to kind of get to it once she's finished with it. But yes, I've been hearing bits of it already, and yeah, really hilarious. So if you want a bit of a funny read, then I think this definitely has moments of humour in it, so I'm looking forward to that one myself. And then this one, a lovely sort of seasonal read for right now, is The Apple by Sally Coulthard, A Delicious History. It's a non-fiction book all about the history of the apple, and this is one that I really would like to try and get to this month. It looks really good. I think Sally Coulthard's such a good writer as well, so I'm looking forward to getting to this one. And then I also got a few other non-fiction books that had been on my wish list for quite some time. So I got this All the Rage, Power, Pain and Pleasure, Stories from the Front Line of Beauty, 1860 to 1960 by Virginia Nicholson. This just sounds like such an interesting book, all about beauty and women and society's expectations on women, and I can't wait to read it. I think it would be a really fascinating take on social history and cultural history. So I'm really looking forward to getting to this at some point. And then another non-fiction book that I got recently that sounds really interesting is Literature for the People by Sarah Harkness. And this is a biography about the Macmillan brothers and how they built such an incredible publishing powerhouse. So I think this one will be a really fascinating read too. They published authors like Lewis Carroll, and there's just so much history to Macmillan, to this publishing house. So I'm really looking forward to this one. And then an art biography I got, which had been on my wish list for ages, was this biography of Gwen John, Art and Life in London and Paris by Alicia Foster. And I love Gwen John's artworks, but I really don't know much at all about her or her life. So I think this will make a wonderful book for me to read. And yes, I can't wait to get to this one soon. There's some lovely examples of her art throughout the book too. It's a really beautifully done book, I have to say. Really lovely quality book. So I was really pleased to get that. And then I got a few cookbooks too. So while I was in London, I went to the Hatchards in St Pancras station, and I picked up a signed edition, which I was really thrilled to get, of this new edition of one of Diana Henry's classic cookbooks. So it's not a brand new cookbook, but it's a new edition of it, which I think is really attractive. And it's her Crazy Water Pickled Lemons book, and it was a signed copy. So I was really pleased to get that. I'm a huge fan of Diana Henry. I absolutely love her recipes. So I was really pleased to get this one. And just so many I'd like to try. So I was thrilled to get that. And then another cookbook that I got earlier in the summer, but I've been really enjoying, is this The Art of Friday Night Dinner by Eleanor Stiefel. And this is such a good cookbook to read as well as to enjoy cooking from. It's really one of those cookbooks that you can have on your bedside table and just dip into. And I love that type of cookbook, the ones that I really love to read. And Eleanor Stiefel, I hope that's how you say her name, but she's such a good writer, such a good food writer. And I've just been really enjoying reading this one. Lots and lots of fun. So I highly recommend it. And then I just got this one, Paul Ainsworth, For the Love of Food, Recipes for Life's Delicious Moments. And this looks really good, I have to say. Lots of very, very tempting recipes. So I'm finding this one inspiring as well. But I only just got it, so I have to look at it properly. But yes, those are all of the books that I've got lately. Do let me know if you've got any of these books, if you've read any of them, or if there are any that you fancy too that you think look really interesting. I'd love to know. But thank you so much for watching my video. Extra big thanks as always to those of you who pressed the super thanks button on my last video. I always so appreciate your support. But thank you to everyone who supports my work by subscribing to my channel, liking the video, putting a comment on, watching the videos, of course. I really appreciate all of your support, and I'll see you again very soon. Goodbye.